The Wyckoff Accumulation phase is a sideways and range-bound period that occurs after a prolonged downtrend. This is the area where larger players try to build positions. There are 6 distinct parts of the Wyckoff Accumulation phase, all with an important function. The preliminary support, the selling climax, the automatic rally, the secondary test, the spring, and finally, 3 together, the last point of support, backup, and sign of strength. Alright, then who is Richard Wyckoff? Wyckoff spent his entire life as a technician of the stock market, growing famously wealthy for his practices within it. His methods are still used to this day to help discern ranges and to identify 2 of the most important phases of market cycles, the accumulation and distribution phase. But for today, let's just look specifically at the Wyckoff method, and more specifically, the Wyckoff accumulation. Alright, so both the accumulation and the distribution phase are essentially just ranges or larger consolidations. Where and how they occur is what distinguishes them. Wyckoff believed that larger players and smart money operated within these ranges and as a result left obvious patterns behind. Considering the fractal nature of trends and price behavior, these patterns can be seen in lower timeframe trends, but for today, let's focus on higher timeframes only. Alright, so on to the Wyckoff accumulation. As we said before, the accumulation phase is a sideways and range-bound period that occurs after a prolonged downtrend. This is the area where large players try to build positions and shake out smaller fish without causing much of a further drop in price, or the beginning of the new trend. They aim to maintain this phase until all their positions have filled, hence the name accumulation. According to Wyckoff, there are 6 distinct parts of this phase, all with an important function. So here's a picture with phases and labels. We'll walk through the basics step by step. First, we have the preliminary support, or PS. This occurs after a prolonged down move, and we begin to see the signs of high volume and spreads widening. We also see the first indication that the selling may be coming to an end soon as buyers begin to show up. Next, we have the selling climax, SC. This is where PS fails, and price begins to violently sell off. This is the panic selling phase. At this point, prices may jump well over their norms, and spreads can widen to extremes. Often, price will close far from the low, and a candlestick chart view will display a very large wick. Next comes the automatic rally, AR. This is the part where late sellers get punished. After the price has violently sold off and selling pressure is no longer dominant, buyers cause price to reverse with almost the same level of intensity as the selling climax, but in the opposite direction. This is the result of short sellers covering their positions. The high of this point will often define the upper range extreme for the consolidation that follows. Then we get the secondary test, or tests. This is where price revisits the lows of the structure, but in a much more controlled manner. Volume should not increase by sellers, and it's entirely common to have many secondary tests. Next is the exciting part, the spring. In crypto, this pattern should be all too familiar with altcoins that have bottomed out for some time. This is the point in which suddenly a hard test of the low occurs again as a way to mislead participants into believing the trend is resuming downwards. This is almost the equivalent behavior to a swing failure pattern. It's essentially a shakeout. It should be noted that this movement is not always required. From here, price should respond by quickly reclaiming the prior structural level lost. After the spring, we have the last point of support, LPS, backup, BU, and sign of strength, SOS. These following patterns of behavior should be clear shifts in price action from the prior activity into the beginning of the range. This is where price begins to reclaim microstructural pivot points that were established earlier. Often, the sign of strength can actually take place immediately following the spring. This will often be a very rapid and one-sided move that signifies buyers are in total control. Volume toward the end of the range should be high and result in significant ground covered. What follows this range is known as the markup. By then, the deed is done, and the market often will be left chasing the move upward, resulting in a prolonged positive response. Ultimately, the purpose of this entire structure was to cause commotion and confusion so that larger players could take supply from smaller players. One of the most important details in this activity is the volume observed. We want to see that in the beginning of the range, following the high volume sell-off, what follows is a return to low volume. Most importantly, after the spring and ultimately through the SOS and markup, we should see that buy-in volume has a significant impact on price movement. Alright, the Wyckoff accumulation is one of the most popular debated methods by crypto traders. However, it is incredibly useful. Having even a basic understanding of this pattern and these dynamics is invaluable knowledge that can be used to enhance any trading system. And it's been talked about a lot recently as people are looking at the Bitcoin spread and seeing the Wyckoff accumulation happening there. Of course, there's always tons of debate about if it's happening or not, so we'll let you decide for yourselves. If you want to test out the Wyckoff method on your own, but haven't traded much before, you can always use our simulated trading. Here, instead of using real money and risking it, you can learn to trade in a safe environment with fake money first. You can go here, and then here is your graph. And if you want to make it full screen, just use the full screen option. If you don't have a Phemex account yet, just click on the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen. Create a Phemex account and you'll get a 7-day free premium membership trial and other trading bonuses. To learn more about Phemex and cryptocurrencies, watch the videos on the box on the left. And if you're new to the crypto world, have a look at the videos on the right for some of Phemex's user tutorials.